Well, a bit tired from the flights, and obviously last night, not getting many hours of sleep. So having a few naps kind of threw me out a little bit. But I'm about to start next week my trip back, so I'll be in sleep debt for quite a while.
Yeah.
So obviously we're here. What's the university called?
Arizona State University, the Sun Devils. Yeah.
So in terms of, I guess, us working together, what we're doing, so, building out operations in the US, building out, the community to be a little bit more global. And of course, I've seen you already sort of taken Antoine under your wing to get him on board with better sales. And I think I've seen he's excited by that and can see a lot of upside and like where we're headed, which is excellent. So I guess we should probably go through how we met, and then talk about sort of sales in general, and then where we see ourselves going, or maybe what's wrong in the industry, or things like that. So maybe in your words about how we sort of cross paths again.
Yeah, totally. See, and thank you for just hanging out with me today and, coming down here with me. It's been years since I've been here with students on campus buzzing around, and this is where I figured out how to be a student and graduated with honors many, many, many years ago. I was telling Avon, I call Macy, how I turned down the convocation speaker nomination, and it's something I look back on now and probably should have done. What an honor to speak at that ceremony. But this is an honor, and it's a privilege to join forces with you guys. And I don't want to say we're joining forces. We've always been joined, ever since we were working together with the APAC team. And key word there was team. Avon was somebody that helped me build the team, and that team was one of the best teams in the history of the company for a period of time. Certainly from a small budding force to a unit that was dominating. It took a lot of hard work, and it took people like you believing in me and what we were doing with our vision. But we met 8+ years ago when Avon was one of the driving forces in my APAC Keep Infusionsoft team, one of the certified partners in that region.
So obviously we'd sort of started working together. Then I sort of drifted away from Keep because we were looking to do bigger projects, more long term. Obviously Keep is a beast when it comes to the marketing automation side of things, or Infusionsoft as I keep calling it, because that's what it was when I first started. But it didn't really make good long term sense, because there's businesses get to a point and yes, that sorts that out, but then when you have a business at scale, it doesn't do the accounts, it doesn't do the accounts versus contacts. It was only ever a contact driven database. So I wanted to do more, because I think the thing that got me into CRM, so originally I had a coffee shop. After the army, I did infantry, then intelligence, got out, bought a coffee shop. Then I was working 12-hour days, 30 days, 40 days straight, and before even getting one day off. And then I had to kind of re-envisage how to do everything in the company. So I had a facial recognition scanner for people clocking in and out. I had a task management system so that I knew what was happening when and where, and that things would get done on time. I had a knowledge management system, because one day I got a call, my one day off, where it was 5 a.m. I'd done a 30-day straight stint of 12 to 14 hours a day, and I get this call, the machine's leaking. So I get dressed, I drive in, I get inside, and that's one button. So then I figured I'm going to film every problem that could possibly go wrong, and then next time I just had to send them the link. And then I got annoyed with that, and then I thought I'll just create the knowledge base, and so they don't have to bug me to get the link, to figure out how to do the thing. So after a period of time, I pretty much worked myself out of a job. Other people would come and say, "Oh, can you do that for me? That looks pretty awesome." And I thought, well, that's got to be better than getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning every day. So I started helping people, and then I literally went door to door trying to sell business optimization services. People go, we're fine, because they see it as an insult, right? They see it as that they're not adequate enough to be able to make their own business more efficient. But then I discovered CRM, and that kind of led into, I can help you get more leads and sales, and they'd say, come on in. And then that would lead into all the operational improvements later. Because we know that, like, if you get good at sales, but then you can't keep up with the actual delivery, then what good was it being awesome at sales? Conversely, if you're really good at operational delivery and you're not selling, what's the point?
What's the point?
You've
You're
over-invested.
out of business.
Yeah, you're over-invested. So it takes a whole of business approach to be able to solve all of those little challenges. And that's like why we try to be consultants first, and then the software comes second.
Yeah, I like that.
And a lot of times people need a lot of things in the business. They need, sorting out the people, sorting out their products, sorting out their, issues and problems and questions, and as well as all the sales side. So they're all interdependent. And if you can fix one thing over here, which fixes an endless chain of things, there's a much bigger output that can come as a result. So it's actually more enjoyable to solve one thing that does a lot of things, rather than trying to solve one problem in isolation.
Yeah, one by one.
Yeah. So we tend to look at like the 3 to 5 year vision of the company. What are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to go? And how do we help you get there? So that's kind of been the approach that we've gone with. And I think, selling complex, deep services can be very hard. And you've got a lot of experience with that. I think, sometimes when you're selling the software product, you're sort of saying, here it is, as soon as they sign up, good luck to you. But, in our conversations, that's not the case. Your original sales career, you were helping people get to their, first step into using it, or into the, I think it was to do with students.
The uni setting.
Yeah. So how do you find, using complex selling, where CRM fits, and like the ethos around relationships in sales?
Yeah, like you said the other day, it's like people don't really wake up and get excited about like searching CRM on the internet or into chat. Like, that's not what people are doing from an excitement, standpoint or perspective.
Well, they don't know what they don't know.
I think what gets them excited, though, and I know what actually gets them excited, because I'm one of them now, being an entrepreneur myself. It's the business vision, it's the business dreaming, it's the business work, into that vision that you have to do. And, maybe searching CRM is one of the things that's required, at a point in time. But yeah, a lot of people ask me, Avon, like, Shark, how did you sell so much, SaaS or software? Or how did you generate so much MRR? Like, I did that because I didn't do a lot of demos, product demos. I did a lot of strategy demos. I did a lot of whiteboard sessions.
Yes, yeah. And
that was the difference.
Yeah. And that's where I think, if people get bogged down on the software, then they go, well, it doesn't do this when that other one does that.
Or the UI looks like this and this one doesn't look like that.
And I always say, I don't care how the button wiggles when you click it, or if confetti falls down the screen, that's irrelevant.
That button wiggles. Yeah, some buttons do wiggle, don't they? Oh, that's awesome.
Well, flashy is one thing, but like, what's actually going to move the needle in your business? And it's not like this one person. Like, when you got a large organization,
it's not a button per se.
No. And you might have 50 people in the organization and one person screaming for a particular feature. And if they don't get that feature, they're used to using it in another system, and so they want that thing back. But it doesn't mean that it's good, and it doesn't mean that the whole of business will be better off as a result. Yeah.
The long term. People talk about playing the long game.
Absolutely. So one thing we always think about, like playing the long game, is having business relationships. Who in business do we know? Who do they know? And who do they know? Like, obviously, not trying to map out everybody's understanding of the world, but it's very useful. Like, relationships are more than just single dimensional. Sometimes people are like, you're a customer or you're a supplier, and that's it. They don't think beyond that. Never mind the fact that there are people that are very active referrers that may have never done business with you. You've got people who are stakeholders that may have an influence on legislation or some form of, marketplace perception or something like that. And then you've got, a range of other people that can influence other people that would make a decision to come and buy a CRM or something like that. So how do you see relationships, like multi-dimensional relationships and sales? Like how are they at odds, or can they be the same thing?
I just quickly almost just wanted to say they are the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's what's made me good at sales over the years, Avon. Maybe let me try to answer it through this different lens. It was my ability to create a plan for every prospect that I talked to.
Yeah, a bigger vision.
No matter if that plan was to come through our service model and our software or through our teams, or it was somewhere else. But it's like we could be salespeople or we could be planners.
Yeah, consulting. And that's exactly right. Like I try to do the same where, I ask those questions like, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years' time? Do you have a copy of a strategic plan that you can share with me? Because I don't want to help you make a decision today because you feel that should be the thing. When realistically, we need to be thinking about, well, if we make this decision, how's it going to impact? Exactly. So having that bigger vision helps to sell more realistically, because, and not from a bad perspective. Sometimes when, selling more when you're the buyer could feel like, oh, now they're just loading me up with stuff to get more commission, or, that is it necessarily right for me? Well, I think that you will get there anyway. It would just be have the right vision and then help them get there where they want to go. And as a result, that's what the sales conversions happen.
A salesperson oftentimes doesn't win hearts and minds. Whereas a planner usually does, if you were to stand the two up. Because like you said, the salesperson is going to be a little bit more fleeting. They're going to be a little bit more concerned about the now. I want it now, the immediate, whereas the planner is going to be able to play towards that long game and have a little bit more patience for the game. Which is empathy for the consumer ultimately.
We've got some clients that, go, I just want this thing, and then I'm one and done, and then they're gone. And that's not really healthy for them or us, that they go and build this thing, and then the next time they want to do something else, they might go to another supplier who will tell them a whole nother story. Oh no, you got to rip this out and you got to start again. Not because they have to, but because it's like, I always use the example of a cuckoo laying the egg. So the cuckoo bird lays its egg in the nest, and then that egg hatches like in another bird's nest.
I feel so international with you. I feel back to APAC, brother.
but then that bird pushes the other other eggs out, and then it's this foreign thing. But that's what happens when you have these spread out consultants across a million different platforms. And if you could have a bit more of a long-term partner that understands where you're trying to go, that has
a bit more control also in that process as the business owner. Ultimately, you're going to lose a lot of control as you're spread thin through all of those different scenarios.
And sometimes it takes a long time to figure a business out, like what's going on. Like someone said to me, oh, can you do a consulting gig? And I'm like, it's probably going to take me 5 days. I'm going to interview different staff at different levels, and then I'm going to write a nice big report for you. And they're like, oh no, we think you can do it in 2. Like, so I'm coming in as a consultant, and yet how long is your onboarding for your standard employee? And they're like, 4 weeks. It's like, right, what do you think I'm going to learn in 2 days? So, sometimes a perspective of someone who's not inside the company can be a good thing, because, they've got experiences from a heap of other industries or a heap of other companies. So I think that's the other question is, how do you get to that depth in a short time?
Hard for me to answer that because it's natural for me, and that's one of my superpowers. So I'm going to try to answer it from how others might attempt this. For me, it's natural. Again, easy for me. Easy. But I think others can find success in that relationship game in sales by treating their conversations, their moments, as a walk in the park with a friend. A walk in the park with a friend. Right? You ask the right questions, you listen, you don't let your friend off the hook, you create a great plan for your friend.
But I think there's also a lot of like pattern recognition and a lot of like intuition that has to be there. So like, well, in the sense that if you know a little bit about their business or business in general, and
business empathy again, that word empathy again.
well, yeah, like you as they're talking, they'll say this, but you hear that. You know, like one example was the client's like, I want to get this particular platform in to then like bridge the gap between this, and this. And I said to him, and this is actually selling myself out of the service, but I said, you actually need a full ERP, and that's going to cost you about $100,000, and we can't help you with that using the tools that you've selected. And he's like, but that's not what I want to hear. I'm like, that's great, but that's what you need to hear, because the guy had a warehouse with $1 million of stock just sitting in there, which was not going to get used for another like 2 months. And then that's basically $1 million of cash not in the bank account. And then because they weren't able to plan effectively on when things would come in and go out, now they were having to rent another like a workshop where they could store more stuff. And so yes, it would have cost them $100,000, but they would have had another $1 million in the bank and not have another $100,000 a month in a warehouse that they were going to have to go and spend somewhere else, because the problem or the things that they say are not necessarily the problem that they have. They are viewing it from their lens because they're so close to the problem.
So for me, again, it's a walk in the park with a friend.
Yeah.
Are you going to challenge your friend in that scenario? And say,
well, you said not letting them off the hook.
Yeah. Hold on here, buddy boy.
Yeah.
And again, like guys, we're not going to go buddy boy, but maybe we are. Easy, buddy boy. Exactly. We need to see the big picture. We need to stick to the dream, and we need to have business conversations.
Yeah.
It's a walk in the park with a friend. And a lot of the times, too, I call it the calculator conversation. So you want to get to that depth, that level required where you're actually talking numbers. You're talking what this impact is going to have in the business.
And I think to that point is kind of like where you get to, here's all of the things that you need to do, and then there's the plan of, right, well, based on your budget and your growth plans and how aggressive and fast you want to move, you know, maybe I think we should do this today and then do that in 6 months and then do that in 12 months. And even if you don't get to that, or maybe you give them 2 options to go, you know, maybe if we package it this way, this is what your outcome would be. If we package it that way, this is what your outcome would be. And these are the different sort of levers you have. Then it's not a matter of them questioning whether or not you're the right vendor. Then now it's more like, how do we make this happen? Because it's going to be good for both of us.
Well, exactly right. They see you as not a vendor anymore. They see you as a partner in some way that's going to help them to achieve.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
And for the good long-term sort of, you know, business interaction. And we've got clients that we've been working with for years and still have a very healthy, very regular, ongoing, you know, financial relationship. It's not because they feel like they're stuck or that we feel like we've, you know, got them by the hook. It's like, it's a win-win, and there's a lot of value being passed, and they're very happy to keep going. And I think that's where, you know, like, you could sell 100 clients, but if you're only going to do one thing with them, that's a lot of work. Or you could sell 10 clients.
That's part of the reason that I've signed on with you guys is that right there, that methodology that you have and ran the whole team. That's important in today's world of small business, mid-sized business. Yeah, certainly small business. I saw that for too long at Keep.
Yes, yeah. And you know, sometimes for small business, it's like every little investment they make is like putting their money on black at the roulette table, hoping that they're going to get something, but then the 00 gets them and they lose no matter what. So it's kind of like
another good analogy.
It's a huge risk, yeah. And so they feel all the tension and the pressure
all
of
the time.
Yeah,
every time.
And they're like, I really need this to work, and they will ride you.
So
for
again, that's why that walk in the park concept and that feeling is so important there, AC. Yeah.
And you can't do your best work if someone's staring over your shoulder, like on absolutely everything. There has to be a little bit of, you know, mutual trust for them to go, all right, well, you know, I'm a bit unsure about this, but I understand what you're saying, and I understand where we're going to get to, and let's get through this together. Whereas, you know, if it's like, you know, we've had clients, and this is the huge red flag, is when they say, I want you to implement this product in this way. It's like, oh, well, we need to talk through and really understand the decision here. They're like, nah, just do what I want. So that does two things. So one is that they've already predetermined the level of sort of work required
Yep.
to solve that problem. When realistically, it's kind of like, what's the difference between success or failure? Is if you go and say, here's a project, let's just chuck it in, and then say, yep, we saved money, that's good, and then no one uses the thing, versus if you spend a little bit of time on that, like change management, that implementation time, getting everybody across it, making and sort of like hold their hand through it to make sure they adopt it. And then, in scenario one, 40 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever the investment was, boom, down the hole, wasted. In investment two, it might be 10% more, 20% more, or something like that. But then the exponential growth curve of the output of it is significantly higher. So that's the way we ultimately want to get to. Build that trust, hold their hand through the journey, help them be successful, and then be there for the win, so that they're screaming our name from the hilltops, and then the next person goes, "Oh, that looks pretty good. Can you work with me?"
Yeah, nice.
So I don't know. Did you have any questions for me?
I've read through a lot of the case studies. I mean, this is kind of a loaded question. Who's been your favorite client that you've worked with over the years?
Probably got a few. So one is they're called Happy Paws, Happy Hearts.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that one.
Zoho invited them on stage to speak at the customer conference, and they also did a video with us and them, or a couple of videos now with us and them. We still work with them every month, and we still continuously improve this, and this. And they've gone from, in 18 months, they went from 4 sites to 7, and from 20 staff to 50 staff. So they've doubled in size. But, yes, we're spending time and we're spending money and we're building, little reports and things, but there's no magic bullet with this stuff. It's just a lot of little things that add up to a very big success later down the track.
And you would say relationship there, right? The walk in the park with a friend.
Yeah, well, they've had the trust in us to sort of spend that time to really do it, and over the time they've really seen that come through with the reporting that took 5 days a month manually to create, now taking 1 click. And then this SMS program, which completely saved a couple of their programs from failing, because there was a bushfire and then they had to cancel a whole bunch of stuff, and then they had to SMS everybody, hey, stay home, this is it's dangerous to be out, don't come out to this event. And then they did the whole reschedule, so they were able to keep all the participants, so they didn't lose revenue. They were able to look like they were good corporate citizens, and then they're also able to keep their business functioning as normal, even though there was what was a rather major hiccup at the time. So they've just been willing to offer, bring us in as a partner, basically. So yes, they tell us what they want, but they're also willing to listen and be reflective and go backwards and forwards.
Yeah, nice.
And that's probably where that's been our favourite. We do have a couple others now. There's a ASX listed company, so Australian Stock Exchange, and they're rolled out in 5 countries. And we did an integration for them for their 8 different accounting systems into the CRM that are.
What kind of data specifically were you guys passing?
So the sales orders, and it was in Acumatica. So that when they went to, Acumatica is a company called MYOB, MYOB,
yep.
And they quoted them $200,000 to do this implementation, or to do the integration, to do exactly what we did. We did it in 5 days, costing them about $6,000. So we saved them $194,000. So part of you looks at that and goes, could have charged a bit more. But also, I'm really glad that we
did the right thing.
Did the right thing, yeah. Because you get to all the big players, Salesforce, Microsoft, HubSpot, a heap of others. They say we deliver this much value, but then we're going to charge you that much for the privilege. So your sliver of success above it is very minimal.
I see you.
Yeah, exactly. And so you pay astronomical, and if you're not using it to its absolute maximum, you're actually losing money.
That's actually
Yeah.
the problem with the industry right now.
So we want to be value creators and not value extractors.
Yeah, I love that, AC.